Okay, so back to, let's see if we can wrap this up, the Mandela effect, and let's have at least one human being who might watch this potentially be able to understand what you're saying.
Right. So when our universe was destroyed over here...
And this was, you think, when CERN Super Collider did its experiment?
Large Hadron Collider, yeah.
Or the Hadron?
Large Hadron Collider, right.
Okay.
And so after our universe and timeline was destroyed, we were, let's zoom this in a lot, zoom, 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 and the universe that's directly next to ours, it's just directly next to ours, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transferred from form to form. But if there are an infinite number of universes, then there's 100% chance that this happened, at least maybe in another universe, maybe not ours. Then again, there's also an infinite chance that this is our universe. So if this one was eliminated, all the energy from this universe created or transferred a universe that was right next to us.
So the original universe is mirror, mirror on the wall. The transferred to universe is magic mirror on the wall.
Right, and even if you have quantum data or other things that possibly could help calculate these claims, then you'll find that there is a fluctuation pattern of which our universe is on a similar plane. So if this is our plane, there's a universe in this plane, which means that this is a larger dip and this is a smaller dip. So that way there's a fluctuation in our reality of actually things that are real to us but are different in other realities. There's a consistent fluctuation, and I think this fluctuation is known as the Mandela effect for some things, and a lot of things are the same, but other things are, very different. So in this universe, it's pretty much almost exactly the same as ours, for the fact that we're all here, almost, and that everything that we see is pretty much the same.
What do you mean, almost?
Almost as in, I don't know. There's an infinite number of possibilities, so there has to be at least an infinite possibility that somebody on this planet is gone from that time. Or maybe there is an infinite possibility that there is. But the point is that it's a parallel universe to ours. So it is not our universe. It's just not ours. But...
So we are now not in the same universe that we were in when Mirror, Mirror on the Wall was a part of a film.
Well, that's what I'm theorizing, yeah.
So we're in a different universe.
Exactly, completely different universe.
Even though it looks almost otherwise completely the same.
The first one I want to talk about is a man, highly educated man, who him and his mother both clearly and vividly remember what was going on their earth prior to realizing that they're in this whole mess with the rest of us. And just like we all have our memories, and we're not going to let anybody tell us differently, they have their memories 100% solid as well. Now his story is that in his Earth or timeline, he had been following CERN in the news for a few years because he wasn't really happy that they were in operation because of the obvious risks that all the physicists have talked about. And one day he came home from work and saw a breaking news story on every channel that CERN was in the middle of a total meltdown. Now his first thought was good, because he didn't want them to be operational, and he knew his mother would be interested. So he ran and got his mother, and they both watched the news story. And actually, I didn't just email this person several times. I actually ended up exchanging numbers and had an opportunity to speak with him on speaker while him and his mother were both there. He's probably my age. And they both remember things very clearly. She remembers, or they both remember, watching the reporters on the campus or grounds in Geneva, Switzerland at the Hadron Collider, and there were white UN vehicles everywhere. There were scientists in, I don't know if they were contamination suits, biohazard suits, setting up decontamination statements all around the collider. They remember little scenes, you know, a stray random person in the background riding their bike. And again, he was pretty happy, thinking, okay, well, at least this will put them out of operation. And they don't remember if it was 2 to 3 days after that breaking news story, or it could have been up to as long as 7 days after that news story had aired. And here's where their memories differ just slightly, is his mother remembers just a bright white flash of light, and then the next thing, you know, she knew she was here waking up one day noticing things weren't right, and realized we're not in Kansas anymore. But he remembers all of a sudden, out of nowhere, being ripped off or pulled off the face of the earth and flying backwards through space and getting a chance to see the earth for a second or two. And he watched the earth get completely annihilated by a red dwarf, and I don't remember if he said star, planet, or system, or galaxy, but red dwarf, whatever. And he said it's not like you see in the doomsday movies where, you know, Earth is just smashed into a million pieces and looks like an explosion with pieces going everywhere. No. He said it's like when you put a drop of water on your finger and you let it drip off onto, you know, a super hot cast iron skillet, where just as the drop gets ready to hit the material, it just vaporizes instantly. He said, for 100% fact, real memory, not a dream, not an implant, that is what he witnessed happen to the Earth. And what he had to say about this planet destroying Earth is what had happened was there was an error, mathematical error in CERN's calculations, and they ended up creating a really big black hole, or something like 2 black holes that were merging, and it sucked in Earth and this system and everything else along with it. And on the way into the black hole, this planet, star, or system hit us and destroyed us.
It was our spirits that were transferred to alternate parallel universes, not our bodies. Our spirits are energy, and as Max Luffin said, energy cannot be destroyed. There is something else to consider. The spirits of the people who were transferred to other parallel Earths occupy the bodies of their alternate selves. So what happened to the spirits of those who had previously occupied those bodies, those alternate selves? I believe it caused a chain reaction. When our spirits were pushed into our alternate selves on other timelines, the spirits that had previously occupied those alternate bodies were then pushed onto other timelines, and on and on. That would explain why some people experiencing the Mandela effect remember CERN destroying the Earth and others do not. Some of us may be the spirits of those who were pushed out of our bodies to alternate timelines when alternate versions of ourselves were pushed into our original bodies. I know how confusing this all sounds. Listening to people recount their personal Mandela effect changes, how things were on their original timelines, it seems that those of us affected have come from 6 or more alternate timelines. My chain reaction theory would support that.
I saw another Earth. It looked exactly like ours, and it existed real close to ours. Okay? Not only did I see one Earth, I saw another 2. And then I decided to count the amount of Earths that I saw, and all in all I saw 8 Earths. If you can imagine a cube, each corner of the cube harboring another Earth. And then I saw this blue energy merge off of the Earths into the other ones, as if each parallel Earth or copy of itself were merging into each other. And then as I looked further away from the Earths that were closest together, I saw another Earth off into the distance, and then another one further off into the distance. So now what I'm looking at is parallel Earths literally in front of me that are further and further away. And the ones that were closest together, it was as if their realities were merging together, and that is why I was experiencing parallel versions of my life whilst I was astral projecting. So not only did I see the Earth being round, but I also saw other parallel Earths that also exist within other points of space.
Ryan Cropper said, I saw this blue energy merge off of the Earths into the other ones, as if each parallel Earth or copy of itself were merging into each other. I believe this is evidence that timelines have been corrupted, merging into each other. That would also explain why there is residue from our original timelines that supports our memories. It happened due to experiments at CERN gone awry. Theory on why those of us experiencing the Mandela effect continue to shift timelines. A similar analogy, once a person has a stroke or seizure, they are susceptible to having more. People shifting timelines from the quantum effect are experiencing the same thing. Those of us experiencing the Mandela effect were torn from our original timelines and thrust onto a parallel world line. Now we are unstable, unconnected to the timelines we were transferred to. After we made the first jump, we became susceptible to repeated shifts. That may be why we see flip-flops like what happened with the Flintstones misspelled Flintstones for a while. We're still shifting realities, parallel timelines, and probably will for the rest of our lives. My theory about a common denominator. I have searched and researched for a common denominator between those of us experiencing the Mandela effect, but I could not find one. If Earth was destroyed, why didn't we die and move into the afterlife, heaven, purgatory, or hell? Maybe some people did die, but we were spared. Maybe the common denominator between us is that it wasn't our time to die, so God saved us by transferring us to alternate world lines. These are just theories, but they could be true. The Mandela effect is a supernatural event that is happening around the globe. It's the biggest event in our lifetime, perhaps in the last 2,000 years, and no media outlet will touch it. There is a complete blackout reporting on this quantum phenomenon. Find out why on my website. On my website, click on the drop-down menu on the toolbar at the top of the page to access these subjects. On my website, there are 9 lengthy pages of research on the Mandela effect. There is a list of content at the top of each page. I share my analysis as well as images and videos on the quantum changes. Most people experiencing the phenomenon only show examples of changes in movies, entertainment, and commercial products. I call that the small stuff. But on my website, I address what I call the big stuff. These are examples of major changes such as world and historical events. I also talk about people changing due to the quantum effect. And I share some incredible changes that happened to me in real time with photos. Thank you for watching my video. Please visit my website at samstwitch.com. My X profile is at x.com/samstwitch_Sam. My YouTube channel is at youtube.com/samstwitch. I post videos that I cannot post on YouTube on my BitChute channel, at bitchute.com/samstwitch.